We're going to go with arrow pointing up. I will start, and I'm going to first start kind of on the recruiting front. I should have probably mentioned it earlier in the show, but arrow pointing up on Georgia's 2026 recruiting team ranking. They are now up to number 2 in the 24/7 Sports national team rankings, behind only USC. So number 1 in the SEC. USC has a lot of commits in the class already. They've obviously swung big and hit with some major targets like Mark Bowman in the class already. They got Peyton Dyer, another guy that had taken an official visit to Georgia at 1.2. I don't know how that's going to materialize. I know that there are some recruiting narratives around, USC's recruiting class in the summer is not the same as what it's going to be in December. I think that it's a little bit more solid this go around than it has been in the past, especially with them locking down some guys within their own state. But look, if there's ever any questions about whether Georgia's going to have a top 5, top 3, maybe even the number 1 recruiting class, I think that we've now officially reached the time of year where no one's too concerned about that. And I don't know about you, Jordan. I feel like we never even had the panic button moment this year. I feel like the last 2 off seasons, really prior to me starting, maybe 3 or 4 off seasons of, what's going on? Why is Georgia not able to get certain guys? I feel like we haven't really had that happen this cycle. What about you?
I mean, I think other than people being upset about the Jackson Cantwell thing, I think it's been pretty smooth sailing. And, credit to the Georgia staff because they make our life a lot easier when that is the nature of things. So, I think to this point, they've done a good job. And I'm sure it'll get interesting. There will be moments over the next 6 months, but pretty smooth sailing. You would have more to speak on it than I do because you're the recruiting guy. You're the one that usually is getting added on the board when some of that stuff's going on.
Yeah, it's the what's going on. Well, the thing that's going on right now, obviously. Well, I'll save it for around the country. Actually, I'm gonna add that to my notes here before I do it, so I don't forget. My other arrow pointing up. I want to give a shout out to Georgia women's sports. In the last few months, equestrian wins the national championship. Women's tennis wins the national championship, and most recently, the women's track and field team dominates the national team competition in the outdoor track and field national championship. I want to give a special arrow pointing up shout out to Carol Smith Gilbert. She was the coach at USC that had won 2 national championships in 4 years at USC. Josh Brooks, hell of a hire to go out and steal her away from a program that was dominating nationally. At the time, some people said, how crazy is she to be coming to Georgia and taking a job like that? Well, 4 recruiting cycles later, when she's been able to put a full roster together of her own, Georgia wins a national championship by 26 points, which is convincing in the track and field world. Shout out to the lady Bulldogs out there because 3 national championships in just a few short months, really impressive, needs to be brought up.
Yeah, so when you consider that women's tennis also won the indoor 4 national championships,
that's right.
And I wrote about this earlier this week, that is the most, it ties for the school record for most national championships in a single academic year. The other one was 98, 99. So
wow.
heck of a run for Georgia athletics and shout out. I mean, the track team, I think they won the championship by like 26 points. I mean, It was not close. They deserve major kudos.
Yeah, no, impressive. And look, Josh Brooks, unbelievable hire. I don't know how he pulled that one off. And I don't know what Carol Smith Gilbert saw in Georgia to be willing to leave a place where she was already winning national championships, but she clearly saw something, and she was clearly right. All right, Jordan, all you.
Arrow pointing up. I meant to bring this up at the top of the show, but Georgia special teams coming through with 2 big additions. Wade Register, punter, number 1 punter in the country, and then I'm totally
No, give it a try. We want to hear you try and say it.
Haran Zurikat is the kicker. Number 1 kicker. So, we're a recruiting show and we don't get into special teams much, but I mean, Georgia deserves a ton of credit. The special teams across the board has been so strong these last few years, and I expect it to be strong again in 2025. But, I mean, go get the top punter, go get the top kicker. Let's just call it a day after that. What else is there to do?
Yeah, shout out Kirk Benedict, special teams coordinator at Georgia. I know more of an off-the-field role at this point in terms of Georgia, how Georgia has divided that up, but someone that is integral to Georgia's special teams. And then credit to Kirby Smart, realizing that kickers and punters are still critically important to success. I don't know if anybody appreciates that as much in college football as Kirby Smart does.
Arrow pointing up, College World Series. Ben, I don't know if you've been watching much of the College World Series. Tuned in to the Arkansas pitcher the other day who threw the no-hitter, and they're interviewing him, and the first thing he has to say is, I shouldn't have hit that guy. If he doesn't hit the guy, he's got a chance at a perfect game. But big win there. I saw Louisville with a walk-off against Oregon State. I love the College World Series. It's so much fun, and as we're recording this, I haven't checked the score. I saw Coastal Carolina is on a tear. We know some Auburn folks that, they were upset with the way Auburn went out of that series at home. But that Coastal team's for real, Ben. I kind of think they've got a real chance to win this thing. Yeah,
they're a very, very good team. I will say if Gage Wood's on the mound, though, I don't know how you beat Arkansas. 19 Ks, no-hitter. I mean, how do you beat that if he's on? If you got a game 3 and he's on the mound in the College World Series National Championship, I don't know how you beat that.
Last arrow pointing up, pool days. Had a chance to go back to Jasper, see my parents over the weekend, and spent Saturday in the pool. And it had been a minute, so that was fun, hanging out with the family. My dog Maya got in the pool a little bit, hanging out in the pool, trying to stay cool. You can't beat a nice pool day in the middle of June.
100%. Yeah, I can't get in the pool right now because of my eyes, so you're just rubbing it in a little bit, but I'm hoping within the next week or so that I'll be all good on that front.
Well, first you have to be invited, Ben, but
well, that's right. I don't have any friends that ask me to come to the pool with them, so how would that happen?